Hi, this is Stephanie Miller from The Stephanie Miller Show. Please enjoy this exclusive clip from my show on Political Voices Network.
You hear people talk and you realize, yeah, it makes sense now that we're in the mess we're in. It makes sense that people can listen to take a look at Donald Trump and his background. Again, your career criminality and bankruptcy and, philandering and everything, and just be like, yeah, that seems like a good guy to make my God. That's a good cult leader. I'd like to be in that guy's cult.
Yeah.
I don't want to sit here and rip on and just be like everybody's dumb, but not everybody. But there's just so many people. I mean, I don't know. I'm almost lost at what to say. I mean, it seems to me that the combination of mental illness and anger and some other things going on there, and Trump said it himself. He likes the poorly educated. Well,
and
the Republican Party does.
Yeah.
How big a factor, Cliff, is in 2024 even, or now, is it that people just don't want to be wrong? They just don't want to believe that they're a loser. They voted for the wrong guy, that he's a crook, right?
Well, it's sad, but human nature, there's a lot of that, right? We all deal with some of that kind of stuff in our personal lives.
Yeah.
People will do that when the biggest consequences are at stake, so that is going to be a factor. The bigger factor, though, is that even when they start doubting it, again, the reason that Fox News and that whole orbit was created was by Roger Ailes and his crew, is because they never wanted to see Watergate happen again. And their view was, we will make sure the mainstream media cannot hold somebody like Nixon accountable. And, this is a test of all of that. And we're seeing it. If they can put the same garbage on every day, so that crazy person who you're playing before, if they can say the same thing on Fox, that she's right, oh my God, you're right. And, we just had Greg Gutfeld on there, telling us that concentration camps were swell. I mean, you wanted to break into them. The great cafeteria, a lot of fun work to do. Everybody liked to do the hokey pokey. Oh yeah, 6 million people died. But if you didn't die, you built up amazing strength and resources. And so you, I guess, benefited from it. I mean, when they're pumping this garbage out there every day, in a way that we didn't. This is propaganda. This is psyops. This is what you do in war. And we've had this during peacetime coming from the right for 25 years now. It takes people like that, but people like her can feel like, oh yeah, well, am I crazy? No, I'm not. Fox News says I'm right, and Breitbart says I'm right. And Ben Shapiro, when he's not dressing up like a little wimpy Ken, I mean, Ken is so much cooler than Ben Shapiro.
But I mean, that doesn't that just, just that nugget tell you how out of touch they are on the right now? Because they said boycott Barbie, Ted Cruz, all the Fox News. It's ruining men's testosterone or blah blah blah, and it's the biggest blockbuster ever. So they are out of the mainstream, if nothing else, right?
Well, I don't want to go into the details because there's family and there's stuff like that. But a week and a half ago, I went to a wedding down in Tennessee. And there were folks there who openly didn't believe in evolution.
Yeah.
They were not on our side of the family, thank God. But you need to do that sometimes, because it reminds you when you say to yourself, where do these creatures come from? Where do these cavemen and women come from? It was perfect because, the old Scopes trial took place over monkeys, 100 years ago in Tennessee. So clearly we haven't come that far. We're still, we still have people, but they're out there and they vote, and that's why we all need to vote, right? And please, women and Gen Z and African Americans and others who've saved our bacon before, please keep doing that, because white guys like me are dumb. We vote for bad people. We do.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say I do, but I'm going to take credit for, or take responsibility for my group. As when somebody black does something bad, the Republicans want the whole group to apologize, right? Well, so I'm going to apologize for the whole group of white people and say white men and say it's white straight men, okay?
Yeah.
We kind of suck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually do hold you personally responsible. I do think of you.
I think that's fair.
Yeah.
I think if I'm going to be a part of this group, I think that's fair.
He's also responsible
Listen,
for Travis leaving.
I'm responsible for dead inside white women that keep voting for Republicans.
We all have our crosses to bear.
So, I keep saying all morning, Cliff, and you know better about Democratic messaging than I do, but I refuse to believe the people like we just played, or the people that they go, oh, it's Trump's indictments are only going to make him stronger. Not among the vast majority of voters, independents, real people, I mean, yes, among his base, I guess the question we keep asking, should we be happy that this cult is going to recrown him king? I mean, because I smell a Biden landslide if that's the case, but I get how terrifying it is between third party and Russia and God knows what.
Well, you know what? Here's what I'd say. In many cases, I would think overall you should be glad they're going to recrown him, because the problem is if they don't recrown him, they'll recrown a washed over him that's just as bad. Yeah, like I want him to be their nominee because the other ones will be just as bad, and we need to destroy them. And there's a lot of people that will vote for DeSantis or vote for Abbott that can't bring themselves to vote for Trump.
I mean, they are having an evil off, aren't they, Abbott and DeSantis? I mean, as you just said, so DeSantis or Abbott just said, "We'll see, Texas. We'll see you in court, Mr. President," about removing, the razor wire in the Rio Grande. The White House said Governor Abbott's dangerous and unlawful actions are undermining that effective plan, making it harder for the men and women of Border Patrol to do their job securing the border. The governor's actions are cruel and putting both migrants and border agents in danger. If Governor Abbott truly wanted to drive toward real solutions, he'd be asking his Republican colleagues in Congress, including Ted Cruz, why they voted against President Biden's request for record funding for the Department of Homeland Security, why they're blocking comprehensive immigration reform. Because they don't do any actual things for actual people. Ron DeSantis is too busy doubling down on wasn't slavery great for black people to do anything about the insurance crisis in Florida, right?
4 times the national average for home insurance. They think, good luck to them if they think people are going to keep moving there as insurance companies are like, I'm not insuring that. They're too busy doing, I mean, again, like they're not, as you said, trying to govern in any real sense. You know, I wrote a whole book criticizing the hell out of John McCain. Isn't that nice now? It's funny. In 2008, and yet he was part of a large proposal with Teddy Kennedy and with a few other folks, to actually overhaul our immigration system, to actually put penalties into place for those who'd snuck in here, but to provide training, to not have people in the shadows, to punish businesses that hired, and to do a comprehensive system to bring people out of the shadows, which, by the way, Reagan did, because Reagan's a real liberal back in the 80s.
Yeah.
And they rejected it, all these guys. So they act like this is a terrible crisis. It's not. Border crossings are going down. But the only reason that there's any issue at all is because they refuse, as you just said, to do anything. Like this guy apparently would rather see razor wire cut into the arms and legs of babies.
Yeah.
What kind of a sick,
yeah.
I won't say the word, so you have to bleep me out. What kind of he makes me ill.
And also, they just did another one of those yesterday about, such and such amount of drugs seized at the border in cheese wheels, which I know to you it's a big waste of cheese. Which you worship. But
they use cheese for that?
Praise cheeses.
Yeah.
Now they're sons of...
I'm like...
I thought they were bad before.
But the operative word is seized. You're like, okay, thank you, President Biden. Why do they keep... Yeah.
They tweet that out constantly, so I would tell you that, again, that woman who's like talking about the spaceships and the other stuff and the Hale-Bopp comet, I'm sure everybody was right to castrate themselves to get up there or whatever else. That woman that was talking at the beginning of the show, she must fall, the type of people that must fall for this and think when they say the seized thing that's bad for Biden.
Right.
Because you see them tweeting it out all the time, and on its face, it's utterly stupid. You're saying, well, Biden's obviously doing a good job from stopping fentanyl from getting in. But
I
to their
feel,
people,
Cliff, like you have not gotten enough of the details from her, and I sense your need to hear more.
They sent the votes to Italy and Berlin.
For what?
Well, they shot them up there, and then they brought them back as Biden's.
Why are they sending votes up to satellites?
Because they had to do it some way that wasn't so suspicious.
Seems fair. I mean, satellites, who's thinking that?
Don't you have a different take on it now that she's explained it?
I do.
Yeah.
And in fact, I wonder, if it is truly Germany, is it the disembodied head of Hitler?
Could it? Could it be? Hugo Chavez was always involved, and the Pope.
Yep. It's the boys from Brazil.
All right. That's what I'm thinking. That was a great movie. By
Yeah,
the way.
it was.